What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 3 different grayscale trusts today. We're talking about BCHG, LTCN, and ZCSH for Live and Let Go for the first 2, and then for ZCSH, Maverick Engineer. Did you go to Colorado Mesa University? Because they have a good engineering program there. They say it's a good engineering program. I know they produce a lot of engineers, and they are the Mesa Mavericks. So I'm wondering, is that why you are the Maverick Engineer? Anyways, enough about that stuff. Let's talk about BCHG. 18% day to day. Beautiful. Beautiful, man. Crazy. Crazy nonstop movement up. That's absolutely insane. I mean, guys, at the beginning of this month you were at $4. And now you're at $10.14, and it's not even 2 weeks into the month. This is nuts. It's bananas. In that time, you even had a day that dropped 16%, and then you just continued to move up. Let's see. Let's look at this thing on the 3-hour. Looking a little top heavy. You are declining in volume. You do have double bearish divergence presenting itself, though it's not printed. You get a red 3-hour candle that, bend this down. That will be a printed bearish divergence look. You could form one more drive and get triple bearish divergence, and at that point that'd be the max of it. But a lot of things have been topping off with double bearish divergence, so this really could be around the high. But if you keep going, I mean, you negate that bearish divergence and then you go down probably. That's how it happens. You are, let's see, putting a line there. You are at like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like in this thing's whole life, you're at like the 5th out of 6 highest points in your RSI, strongest readings. Let's see what you've done each of those times. I'm going to do this real quick. Okay. I'm going to put you right there. I'm going to put you right there. Right there. Right there. Come on. Right there. It's a little bit after, I think, and then sure, right here. Let's look at the price, see what you've done. So the very first time that you were at this line or above this line or anywhere near this line, you continue to grow. Oh, I guess you weren't directly at it. That was a little off, wasn't it? Right there. Okay. So you grew a little bit more the next week, but really what you saw from a high to a low point was a drop of 60%. And then you went higher. This tip right here at the very top right there, top to bottom, technically in the first 2 weeks you moved down 47% essentially, but overall you moved down 49.6, about 50%. Top here, literally like right at the top again. I'm not going to measure it all the way down there because that just seems cool. So let's do like the more or less immediate drop, another like 50% drop. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay, here you had your first high. You did drop a little bit the next week. You dropped 5%, but then you continued to go up. Not shortly after, 3 weeks later, you were at your top. You dropped down to your relative low, 57%. 57, isn't that the first one? Isn't that the very first one? Yeah, 57.9, 58%. They're all pretty similar, right, as far as these drops go, except for this one. Now, this is the one that is kind of an outlier, isn't it? Relative high to the low that you went to, which was actually that same week, you dropped 26%. Okay, 26%. Let's see if we can find a difference in how these all look. This one, I mean, you kind of were wigging and wagging in this above 50 area for a while, right? Relatively tame price action. You had a bit of untame and then tamed yourself again and then continued to move up. This was just tame for a while, but you weren't at like strong readings like this. You weren't slowly moving up. You were just like boring and then boom, flash up, flash down. Same thing, kind of flash up, flash down. And then just crazy bull market, whatever, shenanigans. I don't know. Different. I don't know. That didn't really help me out too much, man. I would think, being that this is your second high, you guys, you're coming to it. You're coming to it right now. BCHG, you are coming to it. Now, here's the thing. Here's something, right? that I've talked about before, and it's easy to forget while we're doing this, but BCHG can move down while BCH moves up. We've seen it before. We've seen it recently, and it's happened multiple times in this thing's history. It does happen. BCH might not move down, but BCHG can move down. BCH could be sideways, moving sideways, and BCHG can move down. You know, it's kind of hard to say. But I know BCH wasn't like dropping. BCH did not drop from high to low on the week of December 27th to the week of January 17th. It didn't drop 44%, but BCHG did. BCH didn't drop that much, but BCHG did. We can even do that right now. December, what was it? December 27th to January 17th. Yeah, I mean, look at that. What did you do? Oh, this is on a daily. I want to be on the weekly. Whatever. Let's do the. I don't know why it's on the daily. I thought I did the weekly. Why am I having a hard time? We'll go from the top. I mean, technically, from here, you dropped 25%, but really what you did was you just moved sideways. Not a similar looking chart at all for the BCHG chart here. Okay, so this was a day, not the weekly. My bad. Anyways, point still stands. Bearish chart versus sideways chart. So can BCHG move down significantly while BCH is just boring, just consolidating, just chilling, maybe even moving up? Yes, it can. It absolutely can. This is unprecedented, man. You are at the 5th highest point in your daily RSI that you've ever been, right? Anytime that you're here or near this area, sure, you could go up a little higher. You could, but you're coming to the end of it, man. And you're going to see, if let's assume that was the top today. I mean, from what we've seen, the smallest drop, right, was here. And it happened in the same, I kept thinking these are weeks, but these are all days. Happened in the same day, 26% drop. So let's say we saw a 26% drop. You're at 1014 now. That puts prices below 770 very much on the table. And that could happen in a day, man. It could happen really quick. Who knows how it happens? Maybe it's not this long, drawn-out kind of drop. Maybe it is a quick little consolidation like this, and then we move up. That wouldn't be crazy at all, but it's kind of hard to say. Maybe you do. Maybe you're at 1014 now. Maybe you move up to $12 before you see that drop. Who knows? Let's actually throw some fibs on there, see if we can get a better kind of idea. Relative high to low, 61869 area. Yeah, 1136 would be like the height of what I would think you'd go to. Hard to say. Top to bottom here. Hit that 1618, 2618 all the way up here too. You could go a little bit higher, just a little bit higher BCHG. Top to bottom here, 2272 right up there as well. Yeah, man. The 2272 is a very common number to hit as far as deep extensions go. 2618 as well, but it's a little less common in my opinion. Yes, it's a golden ratio. It's a double extension of the golden ratio, but the 2272 to me is more common of a top for whatever reason. It's just something that I've experienced. But that 2618, being that this is further away, that's fine, right? 2272, right? The 618, yeah. This area, this 1064 area, you're at 1014 right now. 1064 to 1136. It seems to be an area that is coming up a lot. So I think you will find turbulence there. You know, anytime you've been this hot on the RSI, it has been near your high points as well, right? Even here on this week where you got to this part, you still continue to climb, but let's put a line. Let's put a line right at where that week closed. Did you or did you not go below that line? Even though you went up, even if you sold early and it went up higher without you, it went up from this weekly close up another 36%. Did it or did it not go down 23%? You know what I mean? So I think being here, being around this area in the weekly RSI, the daily RSI, where you are within the 61869 of the greater fib from this top to low here, being that this is a support area over here, it could be resistance. I think it goes up a little bit more, but it wouldn't be crazy if it topped out, if this was the top already at $10.19. Might be a good profit taking area, you guys. It might be a good profit taking area. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I've been wrong with BCHG before. I can be wrong again. To be fair, BCH to me does not look like it wants to crash at all. But if it consolidates, if it's not breaking upwards, doing bullish things in that time of consolidation, that could give BCHG a little bit of time, space to move down, and maybe it does. And that's, again, BCH to me looks a lot more bullish than relatively speaking. BCHG looks more bullish, but BCH to me doesn't look like it has the potential to drop as much as BCHG does. I'm trying to choose my words here carefully. I'm not expecting a drop like this, though it could happen. Something like this might be the case with BCHG, or maybe it is a little bit more extreme, and we could consolidate more. But I don't know if we're going to get like a sustained move down like that. I don't think it's going to be like boring like this either. But oh my goodness, I moved the price down at the RSI, guys. I didn't mean to do that. But all in all, yeah, we're probably getting to a topping point, probably. That 3-hour RSI does not look friendly, though it can look friendlier if we start the day off good tomorrow. The first 3 hours of tomorrow's opening period, if it's green, enough to like get rid of this bearish divergence, but I don't know if it will. Let's look at the 1 hour. And it's not looking good, man. I really don't like the volume either. I'm just saying, you might see a little drop. You might see a drop. If it's not tomorrow, sometime this week, you guys, I think BCHG is going to, you're really close. Really, really close, both in time and in price. I've been saying that a lot for things, because like being close in price is different than being close in time, right? You could be close in time, like it could be a week or a month that you're near the top or near the bottom of something. But in that week or month, you could see 100% growth. You could see a 50% drop. Who knows? It's like being close in price, not so much. Being close in time, sure. But this thing is close both in price and time. Probably decent profit-taking areas. So with that being said, I do think it goes higher. And with that being said, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. My genuine opinion, if I was holding BCHG, of which I hold none, okay, if I was holding it, I wouldn't touch it. We're so early. It's $10.14. I wouldn't touch it. Let it drop. Let it drop 50%. It could drop 57%. We did the math, right? Like those 40 to 57% drops are common, very common with these daily RSI readings being in this area, right? Very common. Let it do that. Whatever. You've sustained it before. Before, depending on how early you bought. Give it a month or two or a few weeks. Who knows how long it takes. You're going to be up at prices phenomenally higher than this. And inevitably, I do believe BCHG will see new all-time highs. So if I was holding this, even though I do believe it's going to go down, I would not sell it here. I would just take the opportunity if it goes down, if it sees a 50% drop, if it sees a 30% drop, a 40% drop, even a 25% drop, or whatever the smallest percentage was that I had recorded there. Whatever the drop may be, take that as an opportunity to add more. Don't take it as an opportunity to play the game, sell here, and then buy down there, because you never know when this thing could just do this, man. If BCH pumps, this technical analysis doesn't mean jack, okay? It doesn't mean anything. Because if BCH pumps, I doubt BCHG will go down, okay, significantly. And yes, I was saying that BCH can move up while BCHG moves down. I stand by that. That's true. But if BCH has a breakout move, if it moves up 100%, I very, very much doubt BCHG is going to move down. I very much doubt that, okay? That's just, a little personal opinion there. But that's BCHG. I spent way too much time talking about that. Let's go to LTCN, Grayscale Trust. Love it, love it. Yeah, man, what? Up 18% today. Litecoin, man. We'll talk about Litecoin too. I forget who requested that as well, but it might have been you, Live and Let Die. You wanted to look at Litecoin as well. But yeah, you guys, people have been asking, because yesterday's video I made a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin video, and I had a few people point out that I was wrong. Obviously, I thought Litecoin was going lower. I did. I very much did. It was the most bearish looking out of all the charts. It rejected off its overbought zone. I stand by my TA, man. It wasn't bad TA. It was just a bad call, And truthfully, you were holding this lower end here as well. I just didn't think you were going to. And oh yeah, I was about to say, I was like, how are we already down? But LTC runs 24/7. But yeah, you moved up. Significant volume. It was a move up, man. It was a good move up. It looks very bullish. LTCN, as a result, and let me finish with LTC first, I guess. I would think that it does go higher. I would think it does go higher. Now watch it go down because of that. Watch it go down. By the way, all the people pointing out that I was wrong in yesterday's video with LTC, you didn't point out that I was right with Bitcoin or Ethereum. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, in my opinion, but whatever. I can't be perfect, man. Nobody can be. You're gonna be wrong. I've been right with LTC before too. I've been wrong with it before. I'm going to be wrong again. I'm gonna be right again. It's inevitable. It's not about that. It's about risk management. It's about, oh, even if I think it's going to go lower, okay, I buy more if it goes lower. If it doesn't go lower and it goes up without me, okay, I look to put my money elsewhere. I don't panic sell. I don't try to play the. It's about risk management, and that's really not even close to like the depths of risk management, but really like at a basic level, what risk management boils down to, you guys, is not playing with your retirement money, with your life savings, the things that you're putting in here to try to make your life and people's lives around you better. You don't play games with that. You don't up here think that the price is going down here and you're like, I'm going to sell my whole stack. We're before the halving. We are well in the early phases of the bull market, and I'm going to play the game right now with my life savings. No, you don't. That's not good risk management. Okay, so again, the reason why you don't play the game is because if you're wrong, you can still make money, right? As long as you're holding it and you're not selling expecting that prices go down here, you can be wrong and still make money. So it's not about being right or wrong anyways. That's why you guys will rarely, there's times where I brag, maybe not brag, but like I'll be like, I called this one right. I don't know. Like I feel like I don't really brag too much because it's like, okay, I can be right, I can be wrong, whatever. But if I make like a really specific call and it happens exactly how I say it, I might toot my horn a little bit, especially if people are talking smack. But I'm getting off on a whole tangent here, man. All this came from was I noticed more people talking smack about, not really talking smack, but pointing out that I was wrong. But all the people that pointed out I was wrong on my Litecoin video yesterday, none of you pointed out that I was right on Bitcoin and Ethereum either. You know, that's 2 out of 3. I was wrong on one of them, but that's just how it is, man. Shout out to Ethan Gallstead on that note, man. I know I said this in your video earlier. He's been on a terror lately, man, with these haters. Straight terror. I wrote this in my comment, but essentially what I said was that haters are your most loyal fan base. They're the most dedicated fan base. They might not like you. They might not be the friendliest people, but those haters are going to watch every video you make. They're going to watch every single second of that video, waiting for you to say something that they disagree with, or that you slip up with, or that you're wrong. They're going to be your most dedicated fans because they're going to watch every single movement you make, waiting for you to slip. And then when you do, they're going to write comments on it. So not only are they watching your videos, every video, not only are they watching it in detail, paying attention to what you're saying so that they can try and be little jackals about it, they're also writing comments. They're like some of your best fans. They really are. So shout out to Ethan for having some dedicated fans out there. Shout out to me too. I know I've got a couple dedicated fans, and that's really, in my opinion, that's what we should start calling haters. They are dedicated fans. That's what you are. You want to hate me. You want to hate anybody who's making YouTube videos and they make an incorrect call, or they say something you don't agree with that you just can't wrap your head around. You want to vent about that, and you want to follow up with them on every single video. Thank you. You are a dedicated fan. You are no longer a hater. You are a dedicated fan. But anyways, I'm getting off on a side note there. Just came to mind because we're talking about Grayscale Trust, and that's Ethan's gig more than it's mine. But I mean, I know I talk about him all the time. But anyways, guys. Back to the task at hand here. LTC. Probably does move higher, probably. Let's see. It's very volatile, as you can see, top to bottom here. 1272, 1414 hit. Absolutely, in the more immediate term, you could pull back to your 886, all the way down to like $92, $90, something like that. You could go lower. I mean, you basically moved back on this whole move, so why not? Why not go back to $85 and then move up? Who knows? It really wouldn't surprise me in this whole like bout of volatility if you were to pull back below $90 from here. But I would think $89.50 to $92, somewhere in there, is where you're going to find support, and then continue to move up. So in that time, LTCN might take a break as well. It might pull back. I'm not the RSI on these shorter term time frames. RSI on the shorter term time frames. It's not It's not giving me too much. I like the daily. I do like the daily, but again, you could come lower and it still looks fine. I don't know. I don't know, man. Oh, that's the 4 hour, not the daily. Okay, the daily does have bearish divergence, but it's not confirmed. It's not confirmed until you get a red day. And even then, all you have to do is move back to $95, which we have price targets down there anyways, so or like even lower than that, so that's fine. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if you move back down. That's all I'm trying to say. It wouldn't surprise me, but you absolutely probably are moving up. Looking at this, like zooming out on a greater scale, top to bottom here, 886 hit, classic, right? You could pull back to your 618. You could pull back to your 69. Maybe you do find support here at your 786 at the current price targets. But nonetheless, guys, I think Litecoin is moving up. And that's what somebody else said. I forget who it was. I'd give you a shout out, but they pointed out that yes, I was wrong, but they're like, hey, like he did also say that he thinks it's going up regardless, and it's like, yeah, like, you know, like I can say that it's going up over time regardless, like we know where we're going, and still call for it to go down in the immediate term. And if I'm wrong there, whatever, it inevitably time will prove itself to do whatever it is that I'm talking about in the long term. The short term stuff, I try. I'm not the best at short term stuff. I've never claimed to be. Long term stuff, I feel like I'm pretty good at. I feel like I'm pretty good at the long term stuff, but I don't know. Am I just saying crypto's going to go up because we're in a bull market? Like, is anybody really good at that? It's a pretty obvious thing. Anyways, top to bottom here, 138.74, 176, anything and everything in between. That's your next target area, and likely you probably go beyond that because this is a relatively small fib ratio to draw. So you could, I mean, all the way up here at 276 where your 2272 is. That's this like pretty distinct weekly high area. You might be in the midst of a move that takes you all the way up there. And is that going to happen in a week, in a month? It could, but probably not. It's probably going to take time. Right? The last time we were in this price area, literally right here, to get all the way up to here, okay, all the way up to there, we were in this price area here in December of 2020. We didn't actually reach this price until April of 2021. So that was about 5 months later. You know, so it could take a half year to move up there. And in that time, you can move up in a pretty straight line. You can have drops that drop from top to bottom, drop 40, well, not 43%, 40%. You know, it doesn't have to be a straight line up. But more or less, I do think we're in a bullish move right now. I think that we're in a more bullish move than this. And I think that the minimum point of that bullish move would be at least to 138, if not all the way up to 276. And it doesn't stop there. That's going to be like toward the later half of this year, not even like necessarily the end of this year, but like Q3 of this year probably, is when we'd see this price to like 176, somewhere in there. We still have like a whole nother year, or at least like 10 months or so of price action to build to new all-time highs. So inevitably, I do think Litecoin's going to go up, but just in the more immediate term, again, somewhere around $90, a little bit below there is where I think we're going. That's LTC. Let's talk about LTCN. Get back to the main task at hand here, man. That was a hell of a detour. Top to bottom, 1272, 1414 area, same kind of idea. You could pull back to your $17 area. You're at 23.50 right now. You could pull back to 17.10 and be fine. You absolutely could. Top to bottom here, you went up to your 2272, showing the significance of the 2272. You actually even tipped it right here, but found resistance there, pulled back to your 1272. You didn't hit a deep extension this time, so unless you continue to grow, I would think that you do pull back to $17 to $19, somewhere in that range, but you probably do continue to grow after that. I think LTCN is in a parabolic move. It's in a very parabolic structure. You can see it, right, with the naked eye. You can see this like very beautiful curve. You could pull back all the way down here, man. You could pull back all the way to $13. You're at $23.50, right? You could pull back to $13 and still look phenomenal, right? It could happen in a week. It could happen in 2 weeks. You could do that. Who knows how long it takes, but you're in a very bullish structure right now. This is one of the more bullish looking charts in crypto, honestly, and I don't think it's stopping here. I don't think you're going to top off on this parabolic run at a 1272. I don't think so. A momentary high, sure. Maybe you pull a momentary high, you come back, you close this gap, whatever. Do you have any gaps that you haven't closed? No. This one, that one, barely. You barely did not close it. Some people would even consider that a fill because you went into it, but I personally don't, but whatever. You technically didn't fill this one either, but some people would call that a fill. So I feel like it looked like I just smelled my finger there. I didn't. I was taking a breath and itching my nose at the same time. I promise you guys, I don't do that. I don't. You ever seen Superstar where she goes like, and she's like, I do that when I'm nervous. I put my hands between my armpits and then I smell them really fast. Like I'm all kinds of everything right now, you guys. I do think this has higher to go, but in the more immediate term, don't be scared. It's at $23.51. Don't be scared if it pulls back to $17. Again, with risk management, you hear that. Don't think I'm saying sell here and buy down there. Think, okay, I've got cash. I kind of want to buy here because it's pumped in a short amount of time. I'm feeling the FOMO. I want to buy here, but we're at a common area to find turbulence. We're at a previous area of resistance, a previous area of support. It wouldn't be crazy along this very volatile route that we're in, one of the most bullish patterns ever. It wouldn't be crazy to pull back a little bit. I say a little bit, but I mean, that's a pretty substantial drop from the top to where that would be. That's a 30% drop. You could even drop more. Remember, I said $13. You could drop 50% or more from here, from the current price, let alone from the top. Or I guess $13 would not be 50%. But you could do that. Don't take that as an opportunity to buy and then or sell and then buy back in. You're in one of the most bullish patterns that you'll ever see in a chart is a parabolic structure, right? In one of the most bullish times in crypto, pre-halving, right? One of the most bullish asset classes ever. Don't play the game here. But if you have money and you're looking to buy, wait for it to pull back a little bit and then put it down there. And if it doesn't come, if it pulls back a little bit here and then it comes back up here and it doesn't look like it's going to go there, okay, well then you just buy here again anyways, whatever. And then also, maybe it doesn't pull back immediately. Maybe it goes up more. Maybe I'm wrong and it goes all the way up to $31. But then you get a pullback, and then you still get to buy around these areas. You know what I mean? Like don't chase. None of this is financial advice. You do what you want. If you have money and you want to put it into LTCN, go for it. But have the discussion with yourself that if it pulls back to $13, $14, $17, you're not going to panic sell down there. If you're going to panic buy, don't you dare panic sell. We are very early in the cycle. There are high price targets for this thing. I very much do believe that LTCN can and will see a multi-$1,000 price. And that is dependent on some things, sure. You know, we do have the new shares coming to dilute the supply. My theory is this, okay? My theory is this, and it's a theory. It's not proven, but it's a theory, is that with Grayscale's private investing round that it did, or that it's still doing, I don't know if it's still going on, but for authorized investors or whatever it is, the PP sales, with the PP sales, the PP poo-poo sales, it is going to dilute the amount of shares, and that can inhibit the growth of the trust itself, right? If there's more shares, that means that the ratio of value in Litecoin per LTCN share would go down, which that's not good for maximum price potential. But if the trust is adding more Litecoin to their trust, and that ratio of LTC to LTCN more or less stays the same in comparison to the dilution of shares, maybe it gets bigger. Maybe there's what would that be? There'd be more value of LTC to each share of LTCN. Like, who knows? Like, as long as they add LTC to the trust, and this is where it's a theory, is I'm assuming that they would do that, or they have been doing that, then I think that would offset the dilution of shares. I would think that would. Regardless, though, in August, whenever it is time for these shares to be unlocked, you probably will see some selling pressure. But some selling pressure for this thing could be like a 40% drop, and then you recover. Long story short, though, the minimum target is all the way at $2,300. You could go up to $5,000. Okay, Litecoin had a high last cycle of about $418, $420. This thing went up to $510, right? $510, and it was in November of 2020, not whenever Litecoin found its high for the cycle, right? Which was in May of 2021. So let's just see. Let's see real quick. November of 2020. What was Litecoin? Litecoin was at its highest point. At its highest point, it was at $94, and LTCN was at $510. Now, again, the ratio can change. The ratio between how many Litecoins versus LTCNs are in circulation in comparison to the trust, whatever, that might be different, and it probably is different now than it was then. But still, Litecoin itself was at $94 at its high, right? This is the right, I think I'm looking at it. Yeah, $94 at its high. And LTCN during that same month closed at $510. So if Litecoin, if Litecoin were to go to like $500 by that same metric of like that same multiplier, that multiplicative metric, whatever, that same factor, I don't know. Litecoin could be at $500 by the time this thing's at $2,300, $2,500, let alone if Litecoin goes to $1,000 or $2,500 like I think it is, and that would be toward the end of the cycle. So just because Litecoin, you're hearing this and you're doing the math, Litecoin could go to $2,500, that means LTCN could go to $12,500. That's not what I'm saying, because LTC going to $2,500 would be at the end of the cycle. Likely this will top off before that, likely, just based off of the previous cycle, what we've seen. Those premiums will level out, probably roll over into the underlying asset, roll out of this for profits for whatever reasons. That just seems to be what happened, not just in LTCN, but BCHG and GBTC last cycle. But what I'm getting at is all Litecoin has to do really to make these prices possible, essentially from the math that we just did, would move up to like $400, $600, something like that. And that for Litecoin could happen this year. That could happen by the end of this year, you guys. You could see prices like this by the end of this year, as crazy as that sounds. So all back to the main idea that I was saying, which is that you don't want to play the game here. You don't want to play just because it's at 23.51 and it could, being the key word, move down to like $13 to $15. You don't sell here. You don't do that. You don't do it. Maybe you're looking to buy here and you're feeling the FOMO and you hear this and you're like, oh, maybe I could buy down here. And then instead it just goes up here. Don't buy up here either. And if you do, just don't panic sell. But if you do, wait. It'll probably come back to these prices, if not a little bit lower. Very volatile all the way up, forming higher lows. You know, you've got your higher high. Where's the higher low? Maybe you keep going and then you come back and form a higher low. Even a higher low from that point would still be below these prices. All I'm trying to say is, why play the game with something that could do phenomenal in that amount of time? If you have some right now, and in no way, just because I'm saying that I think the prices could go down in the more immediate term, in no way am I saying sell here. I hope I'm getting that message across. It's taken me a while to say that, but all in all, I kind of would expect LTCN to pull back a little bit. If it goes up from here, it could go up as high as $31, okay? You're at 23.51 now, but you closed right at the 1272. So pulling back from there, going to your 886, which also is right at your 382, man, breaking. Okay, so hold on. Just, you see the 886 right here? You see this like teal line? Okay, I'm going to delete that, but it's right there. You can see it right there, right at 1718. The 382 is also like right in that area. Breaking above your 382, which you absolutely have broken. This was a little fakey poo. This is a little fakey poo. This is a real deal break. Pulling back to your 382 after breaking out of it, it's an extremely bearish look, especially whenever, or bullish look, extremely bullish look, especially when talking about a macro fib like this from all-time highs to all-time lows. If I can just do this charting thing right, you know, it's a very significant thing to do. So it wouldn't be crazy at all to pull back to about $16.66, just above that, just below that, something like that. And it wouldn't be crazy either to pull back to $13. Again, you're still in this parabolic structure. It's a really good look. I'm just repeating myself at this point, but I'm really just trying to say this so that nobody's thrown off in case we pump a little bit higher, in case we dump, you know. Pumping a little bit higher is no cause for FOMO. Dumping a little bit from here is, and I say a little bit, but it could be 30%, 40%, is no cause for panic selling. There's a lot of legs left in this thing, depending on how things go. But that's LTCN. I spent a lot more time talking about that than I meant to. Let's talk about ZCSH, and try not to get distracted. Wow. Oh my God. What happened? Why? This thing is crazy, guys. This is nuts. One day into this week, and you've seen as much volume already as you did any of these given weeks, and you're just one day into this week, and you're up 33% after a week last week where you're up 70, almost 80%. Crazy. Top to bottom, 618 close. You're cutting through it like butter. You guys, this is beautiful. You probably stop around this area around 9.91. So let's call it $10 to 12.86, just below $13. $10 to just below $13. You probably do stop around that area. You're at $9 now though. So 12.86, that's a pretty substantial run up from here. Even being at $9 now, going up to $10, that's over 10% gains, right? So that's not bad at all. That you still have left in this move. You're very hot in the RSI. You're in your 90s. You can absolutely go higher. Daily RSI is also getting hot, man. What are you at there? 90s as well. You know, you're gonna see the extent of this move come to an end soon, time-wise. But as far as price goes, you're kind of close, but you could definitely move up higher. I doubt you move up higher than $13. I would doubt that, but all in all, with how clean you've broken through the 618 already, I really think you're going to see $35, $86. Beyond that, I mean, you could see 474. I don't know. It depends on what Zcash itself does. Let's look at Zcash real quick. Looking bullish, sure, but you're not doing anything crazy yet, right? You're at kind of the point of resistance that you've been finding since like June of 2023, right? I guess May of 2023. Previous support area, previous resistance area. I don't think you're going to break out in this point of time, so you're probably going to consolidate, even like move down a little bit. So with that, yeah, it's a kind of bearish looking RSI, honestly. Nice flat top though with ascending lows. I don't know. If you do break out, man, ZCSH might be just getting started, but I kind of think you're going to consolidate for a little bit. In that time of consolidation, you could move down or something like that. And in this amount of time, ZCSH could see some kind of significant pullback in itself. ZCSH. Of which I doubt that the pullback would take you below 645. That would be like my lowest guess of this pullback. I think you have higher to go in the immediate term. I think you want to go to $10 to $13, just below 10, just below $13, somewhere in that range, right? But then you pull back. Depending on the high, I want to draw a fib from there, but for right now, I would say you probably don't go lower than $6.40 on that pullback. So pretty significant. If you went all the way up to $13, pulling back to $6.40 is a pretty significant drop, but at least you wouldn't drop below that if that helps, if that makes sense. Yeah, I got nothing else to say, man. So if you guys like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Tell your friends, tell your family. I appreciate all of you very much. I hope you're having a good time in the markets. It's fun, man. It's really fun. People can get emotional in times like this, both in a good way and a bad way. Do not let any kind of movement down, any kind of shakeout, any kind of sustained consolidation phase scare you out of your positions. We are in the beginning phases, you guys. This is the beginning. We have a lot more time to go. Right. Last year at this time, that was like the real beginning. That was the basis of this. But we are, that was like if we were moving the rocket to like the loading platform, right? We're loading up the fuel, we're loading up the passengers. Right now, right? They counted down. Houston counted down. T-minus 5, 4, 3. We're here. We're not even out of the stratosphere, or maybe we're out of the stratosphere, but we're not out of the whatever the highest one would be. I don't know what that is. I don't know my levels of atmosphere, but we're still in the Earth's atmosphere. We have yet to leave orbit even. We're still early. Do not hop off this train yet. You will crash and burn. Wait until we're in space where you can just float around and be a free floating whatever. I don't know. This analogy is getting carried away. So hit that like button. Subscribe to see more. We are very early, you guys. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.